You're tuned in to the Gallagher Power To Farm podcast. Our animal management team discusses the hot issues with farmers and agricultural leaders, and we share the knowledge that will give you the power to run a resilient and sustainable farm business.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Power to Farm podcast. I'm your host, Mark Harris, Gallagher Global Marketing Manager and part-time dairy farmer. Today we're talking sow grazing and beef finishing. I'd like to welcome Guy Melville, who runs a beef finishing farm near Huntly in the mighty North Waikato. We're going to talk to Guy about his operation and how his sow grazing system is helping him achieve his goals. Thanks for joining us, Guy.
No trouble.
Guy, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your farming business? How did you get into farming?
I always wanted to be a farmer from a young kid, and used to follow my dad around. We grew up out of Wanganui. We had a farm with a lot of hills and a lot of gorse on it, which went into pine trees, and we went to fielding. Had a rowing career in between, and then went back to farming and sort of grew my farming business. So took over the family farm, grew that, and then went into an equity partnership in Taihape with 6 other New Zealanders for 10 years. So we were sort of running 24,000 stock units there. Part of that was a lease, and then we sort of ended up with about 12 to 13,000 stock units as a complete unit. And then that farm was sold, and we were looking for another property, and we came across this one at Puketocha, west of Waikato, and put a tender in and we got it. So we were pretty pleased to have the opportunity and change of scene, really.
Awesome. Do you want to tell us a bit about Puketocha for the people that aren't from the North Waikato?
Yeah, so Puketocha is 1,146 hectares. There's about 940 hectares effective. The non-effective stuff is all native bush, a lot of tocha trees and other natives, and also some swampland and stuff like that. Fantastic contour and real diversity of soils and things, and great location really for our schooling and for family and stuff.
Awesome. And what's kind of stock are you running on there, Guy?
We've just set it up as a trading farm. Basically, we sort of ran about 1,100 trade bulls, which sort of start off at sort of 300 to 400 kilos in the autumn, and then they get killed January, February. We also buy in calves sort of December, January, February, and then they'll go into an 18-month policy as well.
So they're all bull calves as well?
Yep. We do also trade some steers. So this year we had about 150 steers on, and they've just gone through and just been killing those. And then in the winter, we do between 2,000 and 3,000 trade lambs. So they come in sort of April, May, and then they'll go on by October. So we're sort of trying to match some of our livestock to the class of country as well. So where it's extremely wet, we're putting more lambs on through the winter. And then the next area that's wetter is where all the calves go. And then obviously the heavier bulls we sort of try and manage, in the better, more freer draining soils.
What do your growth patterns look like where you are? I'm from the North Waikato as well. It sounds like you're trying to not have too many stock on over the summer.
Yeah, well, we've been here 2 years and we've had 2 very dry summers, and I got the feeling that we are a little bit drier than the rest of the Waikato, and we're restricted on water. So we're certainly conscious of our numbers going through the summer. We did do some dairy grazing in our first 2 years, but yeah, just the complexity with all the bulls and the trading stock and stuff, it made it a little bit trickier. When we first came here, we also had some trace bulls for M bovine. So we just felt it was fair to go all into bulls and trade lambs and keep it simple.
No, sounds good. Now, your grazing system, I understand you're running a sow grazing system. Do you want to just describe how that sort of works?
I suppose we sort of try and treat it a little bit like a dairy farmer in the fact that they talk about number of days in the round. So we've set up a 12-cell system, which is roughly sort of most of the paddocks are around that 5.5 to 7 hectares. And then within that, there's 12 paddocks. They've all been GPS'd, etc. So we start off on the 1st of May. For the older cattle, this year we aim for 1,000 kilos per hectare. So the numbers vary per cell system. We've had cell systems, depending on their weight, to get the 1,000 kilo average per hectare. So we might have 12 in a paddock or 12 in a cell, or we could have up to 18, depending, is how it worked out this year, depending on their weights. And all the bulls are drafted into sort of 50 kilo weight ranges. So they're sort of 350 to 400 or 400 to 450. And then if they're 450 to 500s, yeah, they go into another block as well.
So what kind of rotational pattern are you running? You must have a hell of a lot of mobs on that property.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I've lost track of how many, but I think we've got over 50 mobs. We started off with 120 hectares of a cell system as our first season, and then from that we've grown that, and now we've got 310 hectares that is subdivided into 12 hectare blocks, which is about 510 paddocks. The principle is basically the 1st of May, we work out the weight per kilo per hectare. We also cut our cells in half, so we start off on a 48-day round. So we shift them every second day. This year we didn't start till July, but we're probably looking at bringing that forward to June. We took it out to a 60-day round, then we actually cut them into quarters, and we took it out to 96 days. So this season, the 1st of July, we cut all our paddocks into quarters, and every 2 days they got shifted. And then mid-September, we started taking out the quarters, and then they went back to 48-day round. And then just depending as the spring opens up, as we take it down to 30.
Right. And are you feeding any supplement, Guy, as well? Or is it all grass?
It's all grass, yeah. So we're trying to build covers, build wedges through the autumn, manage intake, and then as the spring comes on, try and open it up so they can consume as much of that feed as possible and maximise the growth rate.
Right. So from the start of July, you got July, August, and then into September, you're starting to speed up again once that grass comes.
We're still learning. We've only been in it 2 years, this sort of system, so we're still modifying it. And to get our 30 days, we sort of shift them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But as it got wetter, we just felt that the 2-day shifts we're looking after our soils and stuff better and protecting our grass. So, yeah, so basically from July, we went to 2-day shifts right through to early November this year.
Tell us about that through that winter period with those relatively small paddocks in that 2-day time period. What is your pastures? What do they look like through that period? Do you get much pasture damage?
No, we've had actually less pasture damage by doing it than we did. We've got the new cell systems and we've also got the old traditional cell systems. And I think we've had less pugging damage from the new cell system by moving them regularly, smaller mobs, and less time to damage its pasture.
Right.
Yeah.
So some pretty good environmental benefits. So what about the productivity side? Are you achieving the kind of weight gains you're looking for out of it?
Yeah. So in the winter, on our cell system, we were probably a little bit understocked. We average 0.6 of a kilo through the winter.
Yeah.
And then obviously through the spring, we've been doing, I'm not quite sure the average, but we've been sitting around 1.5 to 1.8 kilos a day for the last 60 days anyway. Compared to our old traditional system, which is obviously less days for the grass to recover, we've basically did 0 to 0.3 weight gain during the winter on those bulls. The cool thing was we always had grass in front of the bulls, so we were able to, because we had the infrastructure of the fencing, we were able to speed them up or slow them down depending on the conditions of the environment. Whereas in the old system, basically once our covers got down, we had no grass, and then we were shifting them regularly, but getting less and less feed.
So with such small paddocks, how do you apply your fertiliser?
We used an aeroplane here, but it's all GPSed. They've got variable speed. We draw it all up on a map, and then it gets transferred to him, and then their machine can turn it off and on where we want it applied and not applied. I think there will be ways of developing it with tractors and stuff, but
just to drive over the fences, you mean?
Yeah, I think the aeroplane's been very competitive. We've got a kilometre airstrip, so we might as well try and use it.
Yeah, fair enough. So you're obviously relying a heck of a lot on a lot of wire, a lot of electric fencing.
Yeah.
So you must have to make sure you've got pretty good power to get that kind of control with 50 mobs.
Yeah, we've got 9 electric fence units now. We've set up 2 solar systems out the back in the hill country, and it's working really well. Yeah, we sort of have about 120 hectares per system, depending how far away they are. One system's on a 90 hectare, one's on 120, and one's on another 100, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And do you have much maintenance issues with the fencing? Is it difficult setting up such a cell grazing system, or is it relatively straightforward?
No, it's really straightforward. Once it's obviously all marked out, it's because obviously it's GPSed, so quite a bit of planning and goes into the initial setting up. We do all ours in 2 wires, so there's a little bit, I suppose we're using the thinner wire, which is 1.6, so it doesn't carry quite as much current, but we put springs in the fences so we can drive over them with our motorbikes. So it just speeds up the process for shifting, because with all those paddocks, if we were stopping and opening gates all day, we'd be there a long time. So last year we had sort of 400 bulls we could shift within sort of 3 hours or something.
That's efficient. So just overall, what are the goals you're trying to head towards with the system? What does success look like for you?
I suppose the initial one was there's been a lot of soil damage on the farm before we came here. So the first goal was to sort of protect our soils and try and grow some more grass. The farm wasn't growing any grass because it had been badly pugged and stuff. So we were sort of only growing about 7 tonne of grass utilised, 6 to 7. And now, hopefully with our cell system, we're doing less damage to our soil. We're increasing our pasture growth rate, and hopefully we can get that up to sort of 10 tonne per hectare, which I think is well achievable for this area. And then obviously, if we can grow more grass, we can make more production per hectare. So more meat per hectare and hopefully more dollars in the bank.
Have you got any goals in that regard in terms of your target production per hectare?
We'd like to get to 600 kilos, but yeah, probably 500 is more achievable at this point of carcass weight per hectare.
Okay, and when you've done that, you'll hopefully be pretty successful.
Yep, we'll have a happier bank manager.
I understand you actually have modelled your farming system, is that right?
Yeah, we're working with FarmX. With the cell systems at the stage, we've got 4 different cell systems. Obviously, we've built one at a time, and then they've got different contour. So we're putting those into FarmX. So when we transfer bulls from one system to the other, we have to keep records of the weights and time and stuff in FarmX. And then hopefully at the end of the season, it'll give us an accurate production per hectare and also dollars per cents. It's sort of new. We've only been here 2.5 years, so we're still very much in the development stage of getting all that information, yeah.
And what about weighing the bulls? How often do you do that to check your performance?
This year we weighed them the 1st of May and put them into their weight groups. Due to the wetness and we were a little bit understaffed, we didn't actually weigh them. We were going to re-weigh them in July, August, but we just felt because it was extremely wet on the farm, we didn't want to damage any of their soil and things, so we left it and we weighed them early August. And then we've weighed them early November. And the early November weigh was basically to try and predict when we could kill these bulls, because obviously we've got 1,000 bulls we need to market. And so we basically tried to weigh as many bulls as possible in a week and then work out the average, have the weight of every mob on a big spreadsheet. We've actually got it on a big whiteboard down in the office, and then work out when we can kill them and stuff like that.
Right, so you're kind of forecasting when those mobs will be at certain weights based on their weight gain and their current position.
Yep. And we write a date next to it as well. So, yeah, like at the moment, obviously they're doing 1.5 kilos a day. So we can look at the last weigh-in, times it by the number of days, and we should know their estimated weight, whether they're ready or not to go on the truck.
Okay, and when you're aiming to have those 1,000 finished?
The bigger bulls that we took through the winter, we sort of killed them through November, and then basically December, we're trying to sort of kill 80 bulls a week from 1st of December through to the end of January. We'll just finish off with the last few sort of February and then set ourselves up for the following season.
Just so you're aware, we're autumn calving and made the same transition as you're sort of making. Our country grows in the winter. We grow in the winter, but we don't grow in the summer. And like the last 2 summers haven't been that bad. Our area grows grass when it's raining, and that's through winter, through the autumn, winter, and early spring, but not the summer.
Yeah, no, we're learning that. We came from Taihape, and obviously we were real dry out there, which used to be summer safe 10 years ago. So we've learned how to manage dry, but it's even another level up here.
Yeah, it's another level.
Yeah, we've certainly made some mistakes, not big mistakes, but yeah, just learning how to get as much grass to grow through the winter. And that's one thing I did notice here. Everyone around here is autumn calving, so that sort of tells the story of what's happening in the area. Yeah.
Do you use much urea in your system?
We haven't had any money to put any other fertiliser on, so yeah, this year we did use a little bit of urea, yes, to get going, yeah. The price for that's just going through the roof at the moment, so.
Oh, sounds like a most interesting operation, Guy, and pretty intense. How many people do you have to do the job that you're doing there?
Myself plus 3 staff, but we've been building all our own cell systems as well. So that's sort of why we've taken on extra labour unit. But just find that we can shift our bulls we do them at this stage at the moment, it's just Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So in the afternoons we can catch up on some fencing and stuff or build another cell system. Because obviously within the cell system you've got to add water and stuff. But yeah, it's quick to put up and it seems to be pretty reliable at this stage.
Oh, very good. All right, so it sounds like you're getting the most out of your land and learning, I suppose, a new farm after a couple of years and making some good progress. And did I hear you say you're growing maize?
Yep. So yeah, we're sort of trying to diversify into maize as well. Yeah. So we've got about 46 hectares growing. Yeah.
So you're going to be selling that?
Yep. We've sold about 400 tonne this year. I think last year we sold 600. This year we've sort of split. Some's going into maize grain and some's going into maize silage. But the idea with the maize grain is then we can do winter trade lambs on it afterwards, which becomes more profitable.
So you're using the same ground and putting it into an annual or something, are you?
At this stage, we're just still rotating on where the poorer pasture is.
Okay.
Obviously, the cell system's in one part of the farm, but we're developing other parts. Yeah, the maize is another different area again. So we've got some peat ground. There's 60 hectares there. We've got another 60 hectares of ash that they've actually grown onions on, I think, in the past. So we've got part of that in maize last year and the other half this year. But yeah, certainly learning to manage the peat. So we've actually, we're probably the last one planted again this year.
Oh, so you put maize into the peat?
Yeah, so that goes in tomorrow, hopefully, or the next day.
Okay, and have you grown maize on the peat before? Did you grow it last year?
Yeah, we did last year, and yeah, we just had the wrong variety, and it was sown about the same time last year, but just the ground was so wet we couldn't get a tractor in there to work it up.
All right. I've really struggled to grow maize on peat. I've got a tiny little bit of peat. Couldn't get it to grow. The soil's almost hygroscopic.
Yep.
Like it's nearly like the water, and it's. I think what happens is the water just goes through it, and it's not until the water table builds up and comes up that it actually gets water.
Yep.
And I noticed my neighbour has got the same kind of land, and they were advised to put something like 10 tonnes to the hectare of lime on it.
Wow.
It was like unbelievable, like making a thing into a lime dust storm, you know?
Oh, right.
And they seemed to get a reasonable crop, but they were growing chicory or something like that. It wasn't maize.
Yeah, well, we've got ducks, geese that come and eat all the chicory, so that's sort of, we've ruled that out. This area that we're doing in maize, because it was a disaster last year, we're doing it again, but we have done all the drains and we're hoping to put it back into permanent pasture and just leave it for a period of time and hopefully recover. Another thing we're trying to learn.
So you got the maize, you got the lambs, and you got the bulls.
Yep.
And then a few trade steers as well.
Yeah, there's the trade steers. We can do local trade and stuff, so it sort of keeps cash flow going and stuff. And obviously we've got some hills out the back, so we can stockpile a few animals if the price is correct and stuff, yeah. But yeah, the first year we bought 500 calves before Christmas, and yeah, that was...
Not the best time.
No, it wasn't a good time. But anyway, we learned.
Have you had much problems with facial eczema out there?
No, touch wood, we've been pretty lucky. We did give all the calves last year the zinc capsules.
Okay.
The bigger bulls, I think we had 2 out of 1,100 or something, so we were pretty lucky.
Yeah.
But we would like to put the zinc, the water system all comes out of a local stream. It's a very old water system here. So we've done not quite half, but one half of a quarter of the farm is all new pipe. So yeah, we've probably got the ability to start putting...
the meters and that?
Yeah, so you can put it into the water and stuff.
Oh, dosatron.
That's what I'm... Yeah, dosatrons, yeah.
So that you can put your zinc into the water.
That's probably going to be next year's sort of budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've put an extra pump in. So, because obviously in our cell system, we've only got the micro troughs.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've obviously had to add more storage and stuff.
Yeah, because you no longer can use the trough as a storage. You've got to have storage to feed the trough.
Yeah.
So that you can keep up with demand, I guess. Yeah, it's quite a different way of thinking about it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's real.
What do you think about the shape the industry's in and the future? A lot of pressure on farmers at the moment with some environmental stuff and these gases and all that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on the future, your future in farming?
Hopefully there's going to be a long-term future in agriculture. Obviously we've got to make sure we keep diverse. We have got a lot of pressure on us as far as environmental and taxes for methane, etc. But yeah, we've just got to work with each hurdle really and try and overcome them. Think outside the square sometimes and make it work.
Think outside the cell.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of diversity here, and we're certainly doing quite a few environmental projects, and a lot of waterways we're getting fenced off. And yeah, we've just fenced off 14, 15 hectares of wetlands and native bush, and yeah, we've certainly got plenty more to do here.
Have you had a look at your carbon? You're very lucky, I guess, in having a lot of native bush on your farm. Do you think that'll help you at some point?
I hope in the future that the rules will change and we will be able to utilise that carbon, because, at the moment it's been used but not by us. So, yes, we have got some wonderful native trees here, and it'd be a shame to go and put Pinus radiata around them if we have to get more carbon credits. So I hope that, in the future we will be able to utilise that native bush. I think we're doing the right thing as far as looking after our land and making it better.
So thanks, Guy, for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate hearing about your journey to the North Waikato and learning a new farm and trying to get the best out of it. The use of cell grazing, to really maximise production per hectare. Having 500 subdivisions is pretty amazing. And the kind of weight gains you're getting on your bulls and productivity per hectare, I'm sure that must be very exciting as you head towards achieving those targets. You've got quite a wide variety of stuff going on in your farm, growing maize, finishing lambs, trade steers, and the bull job as well. Yeah, complex business, and it's great to hear about the progress you're making and enjoying your farming venture. So thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us, and look forward to seeing you around the North Waikato sometime.
Pleasure, no trouble.
10-4 rubber duck.
Thanks for joining us on the Gallagher Power To Farm podcast. Learn more about today's topic and our panel guests by visiting www.am.gallagher.com.